Today is the 9th day of June. The time is 1 o'clock. Time set for the board to be in session to continue our budget presentations. Commissioner Daly and myself are present currently. Oh, here we go. Commissioner Davidson is here as well. All right, is there any changes to the agenda? All right, good enough. Well, then let's go.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. We've got just our first slide outlining the afternoon's presentations, and we'll work through them as we go through, but we're going to start out with the prosecutor's office. All right, the prosecutor is one of the 7 constitutionally elected offices within Ada County. Prosecutor Jan M. Bennett is responsible for the prosecutor's office, which is comprised of 2 main divisions, criminal and civil. The criminal division handles all felonies within Ada County and is also responsible for handling a wide variety of additional cases, including but not limited to misdemeanors, juvenile cases, and post-conviction matters. The criminal division also ensures crime victims are afforded their constitutional and statutory rights by providing support to victims through the victim witness and restitution units, as well as overseeing the operations of Ada County Victim Services Center. The criminal division participates in drug courts, domestic violence court, mental health court, and veterans court. The civil division is engaged in a wide spectrum of government and civil practice, including litigation on behalf of Ada County and representing Ada County elected offices and departments. In addition, the Ada County Prosecutor's Office has a legal intern program with several law students working within the criminal and/or civil divisions. Additionally, this office has a grant-funded deputy prosecutor stationed at the United States Attorney's Office focused on addressing drug trafficking. Prosecutor's Office has submitted a fiscal year 27 budget request that exceeds their base budget by $132,750. Their original supplemental totaled $180,411. With that, it's my pleasure to now introduce Prosecutor Jan Bennett, who will present the prosecutor's budget.
Well, good afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Welcome to our meeting. We appreciate your being here and we appreciate your service to the community.
Why, thank you very much. Thank you for having me, commissioners. I want to start out by thanking the clerk's office and his budget team for helping us in every way possible to put together our budget. So thank you all. I also want to thank Bethany and Stephen O'Mara, who also played a role in assisting me in my budget preparation this year. And then finally, I also want to congratulate Tim on his upcoming retirement, which is, I think, 90 days and counting, if I understood correctly when I got here. Thank you, Tim, for your dedicated service to Ada County and all that you've done, and I appreciate all the support over the years with our budget and our office. So thank you and wish you the best in retirement. So, thank you. And also want to thank my budget team, Tracy, and the entire support staff team, and my criminal chiefs and chief of staff to help me put together my budget as well. Thank you, Chairman Beck, Commissioner Davidson, and Commissioner Daly for the opportunity to present you with my budget and also to share accomplishments and challenges that we have and that we've had throughout the year. So first of all, I want to remind you of our mission. Because I have a team of very dedicated and extremely well-trained and hardworking professionals in my office that serve our community on a regular basis. And so I want to thank them for the hard work that they do and remind ourselves that our job is to administer justice and to advocate on behalf of the people and to ensure that we have a safe community. So as I start, I wanted to really set the foundation for my budget presentation today by letting the commissioners know how hard we work every year when we prepare for our budget. I'll talk a little bit about our statistics here in a moment, but the bottom line is we work hard to bring you a budget that is a good steward of the tax dollars. I am very aware of the money that we spend and how we spend it, and I pride myself in being a good steward of our tax dollars. This year, we have combed through our budget like we do every year. I go through every line item. I look for places where we can reallocate our budget. I go through our budget expense sheets. I look at past years and determine what it might look like going forward and how I can ensure that we are meeting our budget needs but not overspending or using tax dollars in a way that would not be fiscally responsible. So I'm very careful with all that, and in fact, wanted to point out that in FY25 and FY26, we did not ask for any supplemental budget requests during those years. I will get to the one that I'm asking for, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. But I wanted to assure the commissioners that I have done that work, and we've worked tremendously hard, including I'll have an update today where we were able to work within our budget on a couple of the supplementals, and I can share that here in a few minutes. So when you look at our numbers for our criminal cases, and I'll talk a little bit further into this about some of the trends that we're seeing with increased numbers. But first of all, our total criminal caseload in 2025, and I would remind the commissioners, I think I've mentioned in the past, that we work on a calendar year for our statistics, so it's not a fiscal year. So our 2025 criminal caseload that we managed in the criminal division was over 20,000 cases and workloads. And that is an increase, and we're going to see that it's actually the highest that we've had on record so far. We had a 165% increase in the tax exempt applications that I'm sure you're well aware of because you see those coming through and the work that the civil division does to prepare those for you. We have served around 5,000 individuals at the Ada County Victim Services Center, and I'll drill down a little bit more in that here in a moment. And then about a little over $2 million that our office has collected and distributed back to crime victims in restitution. So first I want to start with our challenges that we're seeing. And the commission is well aware, I think, of a lot of this because we talked about this during the mid-year process for me asking for increasing my starting salary. But our pressure points continue to be recruitment and retention. We are seeing several reasons for that. One is a shrinking pool of qualified deputy prosecutor candidates. And so by qualified, I mean who have a bar license and are able to practice law and also meet our high standards of excellence that we demand for people working for us. According to the Idaho State Bar, they did a study in 2024, and there are fewer people taking the bar and being admitted to the bar. And so that is a trend that we're seeing. I think Bethany mentioned that a few months ago as well, that we're seeing a smaller pool of lawyers. Some might argue that's a good thing, but it certainly impacts us and our ability to hire qualified candidates. Another challenge is that our prosecutors and support staff are very well-trained, experienced people who are highly motivated and work very, very hard. And they're very, very good at their job, which means they are also prime candidates for being recruited by higher paying jobs for private firms and other jobs where they are sought after. And we consistently have people reach out to them and essentially recruit them away from our office. So those are challenges that we have, and we certainly do our very best to monitor that. I have and will continue to work with the HR department to keep our compensation studies updated. We have been doing that on a regular basis and will continue to do so. But I do truly believe, and I think I've said before here, that our community is best served with prosecutors and support staff who are highly trained, experienced, and are hopefully going to stay for a career in our office, because that means that our community is getting the best of the best. And I will continue to strive for that and come before the board when I believe that we need to take action, either increasing salaries or any other thing that I can think of to retain our employees to meet our statutory and constitutional duties. Another pressure point, and I'll get to this, and this is around our supplemental request, which is our case management system. but I'll get to that in a moment. So within our budget allocation, I have gone through, and again, working with HR, gone through and looked at what we would need to do, what I would like to do, and ask the board to do, is approve our 22 market adjustments and 9 promotions, which are reclassifications, and the amount is $117,898. And I'm asking the board to approve those, again, reminding you that that is within my current allocation. Unfortunately, as I've mentioned in the past, when you have turnover, then you also have salary savings. So it is not great that we have turnover, but I want to be able to use that turnover and put it back into my employees, again, to retain the employees that we have. I did work with HR on the adjustments, submitted them for HR's review, and certainly appreciate their assistance. I really want to thank Bethany and her team, as always, for working with us tirelessly to go through every year, not only the compensation studies, but also when we're asking for specific adjustments, that they walk through all of that with us. This year, I think, or in this request, I know Bethany made a recommendation to increase one that came to her attention, so we've taken that as well, and that is part of the adjustments that I'm asking for here. So one of the things that I have been doing very early on, basically since 2014, when I took over from my predecessor, is working with the HR team. Back then, it was Bethany as well, and developed compensation plans and classification levels. It was very important for us to have career pathing within our office so that the attorneys and support staff know that there are opportunities for advancement in the prosecutor's office as they obtain more experience and can move on and promote to other areas, or work at a higher classification level and take on more responsibility. So we have been doing that on a continuous basis. Also, when I have salary savings and am available to me to be able to come to you and ask for mid-year adjustments, I do that. And as you recall, the board reviewed those adjustments several months ago on ones that I brought forward to increase our starting salary. And I want to thank you for taking the time to go through that and for approving those. I think it has gone a long way to retaining our new prosecutors that are entering into our office. As you recall, those were funded within my budget during this fiscal year, and had essentially come to our attention that after the budget closed last year, that the AG's office, the state public defender, and Canyon County Prosecutor's Office had gone well above us to the tune of over $10,000. And so I appreciate, again, the ability and your approval of those so that we could get those starting salaries up and competitive to the best of our ability. The other thing that we spend a lot of time doing, and that we've been working on, and my chief of staff has taken this on to help me update our job descriptions and scopes to reflect the current roles and responsibilities within the levels. It was time to take another look at that. We had done that a few years ago and wanted to make sure that our job descriptions and scopes of duties are reflecting the current responsibilities for the prosecutors in our office. And again, as I mentioned, continue to work on the challenges of recruitment and retention within our A-budget allocation. So now for my supplementals, just to give you an overview, and it's somewhat simplified, but I'm still going to walk through the need for these 3 items that were all 3 supplementals, but have been able to work within our budget on 2 of them. And so I'm very happy and pleased to be able to do that today and to tell you that now my supplementals, instead of being 3, are actually 2, or excuse me, 1. 2 I was able to pull off. So if you see the B budget item is the software, the $132,750. That is the case management software program that I'll get into more detail in a moment. I had in my budget that you probably see already or saw before you, taking a part-time reception position at the Ada County Victim Services Center to a full-time, and then 2 positions that I wanted to do conditional pay for the additional responsibility. I have been able to fund those within my budget. Went back to the drawing board and worked tremendously hard to get within our flat budget. So I'm pleased to say that I'm left now with just the one supplemental request. And so with that, I will move into what I'm asking for with that request. So as Chairman Beck is well aware, one of our duties is to ensure the proper administration of justice. And I understand from time to time that the chairman may quote me on that because I mentioned that early on in a budget presentation when the chairman was asking me questions. And that continues to be the cornerstone of what my office does. And this software that I'm asking to be approved will help us do that very thing. So currently, our criminal division is utilizing what we call the attorney manager program. It is within the Idaho Court's Tyler Technology Odyssey Case Manager system. And so it is actually a court system that we are using and have been using since, I want to say, approximately 2016, when we went online with the Idaho courts on that. And so about 2 years ago, the court notified me that my office would no longer have access to the attorney manager platform within the Odyssey system. And so I appreciate that the court gave me the time to find another solution and have been patient as I'm trying to figure out how to navigate that. 2 years ago, at the point that we were notified of this upcoming change, it was too late. We were already past our budget presentation, and we were past our budget deadline to ask for more money, and so I could not do that for the FY25 year. So I pivoted to working with our Ada County enterprise system, which is OnBase, and attempted to stand up an in-house solution. Since then, I can tell you and report to you that we have worked diligently with the IT department, with Stephen O'Mara and his IT team, to try to develop a system that uses the OnBase platform. My management team and IT's team made this project a top priority. We have all worked very hard over the last year plus to attempt to develop OnBase, but the reality is after we've done testing and tried to get it to a place where we could even use it, we are unable to do so. There is just no way that the OnBase system can cover all the things that the prosecutor's office criminal division needs in order to do our job. I think really the way that I describe it, it doesn't even have the capacity. It's not prosecutor-based. It has capacity to have some adjustments made to it, but not to the extent that we need to meet our constitutional and statutory duties. So I want to thank Stephen O'Mara for the hard work. And he and I sat and had a long conversation about this and both determined that it simply was not going to be able to meet our demands. As you can see from the screen, it's too slow to keep pace in our courtrooms. Currently we're already having a hard time toggling among the different programs that we have, even including Attorney Manager, which is one program, but we also have to go into another system to take our notes and to do the tasking out to our assistants. And so it just is very clunky right now, but this would even add much more complexity and slow us down even more if we even tried to use what it's capable of doing. So I appreciate everyone's best efforts, and I think for us, we can come to you and the taxpayers and say that we've tried everything we can possibly try, not to have to ask for additional money, but we're at that critical point where I have no choice. And so that's what I'm asking the board to approve. So our solution that we've looked at a lot and had some demos of a lot of them, but it's a matrix prosecutor is what I'm hopeful that, again, nothing solid until the board approves anything, but this would be a solution that would work for our office. One of the things that we looked at is if we stuck with the OnBase system, we would need to hire more people to be able to keep up the pace. But in looking at Matrix Prosecutor, it can do what we need much more efficiently, much more effectively. It has a better ability to interface with our Axon program. And so it's actually going to be very efficient and save us a lot of time. And this prosecutor from Union County, Ohio, is somebody who went with the Matrix prosecutor, and his quote is here that his office was able to handle an increased workload without hiring additional staff. And so that excellent feedback that we've gotten has really been tremendous for us, and I think that this solution will really provide a long-term solution for our office well into the future. So as I mentioned, the Matrix prosecutor is already fully integrated with Axon. We currently use Axon to manage our evidence and media from law enforcement, such as the on-body video. And you'll recall past presentations where I talked about the Axon and its management of on-body video. It's a searchable program. It does transcripts for us, and it manages everything from photos to any evidence that we need to put in there to effectively work our cases. Axon is continuing to grow within the law enforcement community, so having the integration, the Matrix prosecutor integrate with Axon is of great benefit to us. It also enables the Matrix prosecutor, enables us a higher output without adding to our staff. So we looked at what we think it would take to staff the on-base software, if we were able to even get it to a point where we could use it. And we have calculated it would take about 6 additional attorneys, 5 additional support staff, to the tune of about $1.1 million in personnel costs. And I just cannot in good conscience do that when I think this software program will allow us to continue without having to add additional staff. That's not to say our workloads aren't going to get to a place where we do come back and ask for additional staffing, but it won't be because we don't have the tool to do what we need to do like we think Matrix Prosecutor will do. So this is a breakdown of anticipated costs. Obviously, nothing is set in stone yet. Obviously, the commissioners, you would have to approve this, but I wanted to walk through our best ability to anticipate what it would cost. The subscription costs for a year are $288,000. Now, again, there's opportunity to negotiate once everything is approved and we're able to move forward. So there is the potential for that, but I have not budgeted for that. I budgeted for the 288, which is the annual cost. There's also an implementation cost of $310,000. The total is $569,200, but that includes, again, if approved, includes the remainder of FY26 and subscription costs for FY27 and 28. So there is the potential, again, if the board approves, that we can develop a payment schedule that would allow us to pay for the one-time costs and subscription costs over 3 fiscal years for what you see at the bottom of the chart each year, how much each year would be broken down to get to that $569,200. As you can see, if you approve of it, we could begin implementation as soon as approved this fiscal year. I have combed through, again, as I mentioned earlier, my budget. I could reallocate B budget on some of the areas where I've come in lower, 2 in particular, that I could fund that to get us started in current fiscal 26. Again, this is a projection and is all, of course, subject to your approval. If you approve, we are hopeful that we could move forward in a timely fashion and be able to report back to the court, the Idaho courts, that we'll have a date, hopefully in the next year or so, to discontinue attorney manager and begin with Matrix prosecutor. So as I said, I've gone through my line items, done exactly what I said in the beginning, which is looking at my trends, where my B budget is, what things have come in lower, and really worked hard to try to find whatever I can do right now to support this effort within my current budget. And that's $155,250 within my budget to offset my supplemental request, B budget request to you. So that's where I come up with the $132,750 to fund Matrix prosecutor. So our workloads, I wanted to spend just a minute talking about that. And again, I think it also highlights why this software program is going to be so helpful to us. So our criminal jury trials have increased 112% since 2021. It's a remarkable number that we did 294 jury trials last year alone. Again, 112% increase since 2021. And I do think that the fact that we could get matrix point will certainly help us be more efficient. But our jury trials, preparing for them and presenting them to a jury in a courtroom is very complex and demanding. As you can imagine, it does put significant pressure on our prosecutors and the support staff who back them up outside the courtroom. As you know, we try high-profile cases. We try a lot of different types of cases in the criminal division, and my team is dedicated to their work, to the community, to keep them safe, and I'm certainly grateful for their service. This certainly demonstrates that service to the community. I do predict that we'll continue to see the numbers increase. They kind of leveled off a little bit between 24 and 25, but that tells me that we're going to be in that range, and certainly that's a number that we'll keep an eye on and report back in future years. I mentioned earlier that we were at a record high in terms of our overall workload. So I talked about trials, but when you look at the workload that we do, and again, these are our statutory and constitutional duties, and I apologize that my braces are giving me a little bit of fits today, so I apologize for that. But between 2021 and 2025, we are seeing a 7.3% increase year over year from 21 to 25. So with that workload, I've talked to you in the past about what that encompasses, but it's everything in the criminal division that we're doing, and certainly can share more about each particular thing, but it is our mandated duties. And so watching those numbers increase, we'll keep an eye on, again, like the jury trials, and report back next year with how it's looking. The tax exemptions, I mentioned already, but just from a percentage, it's 165% increase since 2024, which is pretty significant. We'll keep an eye on that as well, as I know you will, because you'll see those coming across your desk. So our restitution division helps in getting the information from our victims to our prosecutors, who then, at the end of a case, if there's a conviction, we request that restitution be ordered and paid back to the crime victim by the offender. And so I'm happy to report that in 2025, we returned back to victims over $2 million in restitution. And that's a significant number that we see fairly consistent. We'll have some jumps even higher than that, sometimes a little bit lower, but we're around that 2 million mark every year. Specific case increases that impact our office as well as the Victim Center that I wanted to mention briefly. Our domestic violence cases from 24 to 25 are up by about 2.3%, and our child abuse cases have taken quite a jump from 24 to 25, up 58%, which again impacts not only our prosecutors and my team, my felony team, but also the Ada County Victim Services Center, and I'll talk about their stats here in just a minute. So I mentioned earlier about the high-profile cases that our office handles. Here are a few of them, recent headlines. Also one hot off the press today on a rape case that we got a conviction last week. Very challenging case, and want to congratulate my prosecutor in that case. That made headlines this morning. So we take this work very seriously. It has an impact on the community and public safety. And again, I want to thank my team for the work that they do every day. Moving to the Ada County Victim Services Center, which, as you recall, one of my supplements that I've now been able to fund within my budget was taking a part-time receptionist and making that position a full-time, given the increased workloads that we're seeing over at the center. And that is demonstrated here in this slide, where you can see that victims served in 2024 has gone up 54% in 2025. And then you'll see calls received, which come into the Victim Center, and which may mean that victims do also follow up and come into the center. But calls received went up 115%. You'll see 2,502. So that's where we get the 5,000, approximately 5,000 victims and individuals assisted at the Victim Center in 2025. And I want to thank that team, Trina and Michelle, for all the work they do and for helping me gather the statistics that hopefully going forward we can show year over year and how we're doing. But to me, this says a couple of things. One, that we are reaching the community and raising awareness around the Victim Center, that the people that are needing our services are getting those services. But it also shows that we have a lot of work to do to continue to raise awareness in the community and to serve the victims who come to the center. As you know, there are 26 partners that work there and wrap services around those victims as they come through the door. So the receptionist is a position that is the first point of contact for victims. Many arrive in crisis, and that reception position is conducting that initial triage, coordinating with multiple co-located agencies and community partners, and also maintaining the safety of the people who are coming through the door, the victims and their families as they're there. So we have seen, as I showed, an increase in the numbers, and Trina and Michelle report to me that they are in desperate need of a full-time position, because part-time means that when that part-time person is not at the front desk, other resources, including, I know Michelle and Trina themselves, covering that front desk position. And so I do want to request of the board approval to be able to expand that to a full-time position. The other thing I would note is the complexity and scope of that role has grown as we've looked at it over the years. We have a higher demand. The domestic violence case orientation and resource program that we do over there for DV victims after an arrest of an offender has picked up significantly. We are seeing, again, with raised awareness, a lot of attendance to that program, which also increases the need at the front desk. And the other supplemental that I have now again taken off the table and can fund within my budget is 2 positions that I've asked for and I'm asking you to approve for highly specialized supervision of our domestic violence and attempted strangulation team, as well as our child abuse and sexual assault team. So these 2 prosecutors are highly trained, and they have a lot of experience in those 2 specific areas. And so they help train all of our other prosecutors that are handling those cases. They also train law enforcement. They take calls, and they're doing duties that are not currently within their job description. And so I'm asking to give them conditional pay. And what that means is that if they leave those positions, then that pay is removed. It's very similar to our on-call position, where we have on-call prosecutors answering calls in the middle of the night on the weekend, and so and on holidays and things like that. So this is similar to that in that if they leave that position, that conditional pay goes to the next person that's doing those additional extra duties. So that's what the conditional part means. And again, I've worked with Bethany, and we've talked through all of those, and again, appreciate her help on that. So this was my requests were going to be 3, but as you can see, now it's the 132,750, and so that chart is summarizing sort of the bottom line. So now the bottom line is better than it was. I think it was like 180,000. So now we're down to 132. So with that, before I close, I've got a few. I want to talk a little bit more about our accomplishments, but before I do that, I certainly stand for questions before I finish our program. Any? Okay.
You ready for questions? Is that it?
I can be, but I'll just
go ahead.
I can do our kudos. There are many emails and letters that I get. It's absolutely such a rewarding thing when victims reach out to our prosecutors and to me personally and thank us for the work that we're doing. So I don't have to read these all to you. But when you look at these, it really does show the impact. And I know this is a small snapshot, but, one that sticks out, I'm safe now, thank you for fighting for me when I couldn't fight for myself. That is a common theme that we see from victims, and it is, like I said, one of the most rewarding and fulfilling parts of our jobs, to know that our community and the people that reach out to us are getting the help they need. And frankly, I get a lot of kudos from the community thanking us for keeping our community safe in many ways. And so I share a few of these with you, three more here. The last one is our receptionist at the front desk, handling a difficult visitor, and someone from the law enforcement community reached out and said, wow, what poise she had in doing that. And so I just really appreciate the work that I see my team doing every day. And then lastly, I have a little video here.
Yeah. Powerful.
I'm so proud of my team of prosecutors and staff who work really hard to keep our community safe every day. This project is another way that we can give back to our community, and also it reflects our heart for service.
In 2025, we had approximately 5,000 people call into the center. We had 2,600 people enter the center. We would really like to get the message out that we're here to provide service.
I'm Jan Bennett, Ada County Prosecuting Attorney. Please know that what you do makes a difference. It truly does in the lives of victims, and you inspire our continued efforts to assist them as they experience what will be one of the most traumatic times in their lives.
Come into the criminal justice process at their worst moment, sometimes the lowest point of their life, and yet they show up with courage and they tell the truth and they seek justice. And to me, that is anything but depressing. It's incredibly inspiring and meaningful.
Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here today to present our budget for FY27. I do believe that what we do today does invest in tomorrow for safer communities, and appreciate all the work that you do every day to support my effort to run this office in an effective, efficient, and a way that keeps our community safe. So thank you. I stand for questions,
Okay,
Chairman.
well, thank you. And I want you to know that personally, I appreciate your service to the community, because there's nothing more important than keeping the bad guys off the street. And you and the sheriff and other law enforcement, they catch them and you put them away. And that's, I think that's a positive. And I know that it's not an easy job, but it's one that's necessary, and I think you've done a great job at that. I'm particularly happy with the Ada County Victim Services Center, because there's two areas that I personally really am touched by, and that one of them is the Ada County Victim Services Center, and the other one is our treatment center with the drug court. And both of them you have a hand in, because I've been to those graduations, and every time that there's a graduate, there's somebody from the prosecutor's office asking to amend their judgment or do so, put them on probation or
that's correct,
something.
yes.
I mean, it's
Thank you.
the judge always grants it too.
Indeed. Thank you
Yes,
very
and
much. I
that's-
appreciate
think
that,
that's
sir.
it's just good to see people's lives changed, and in both cases, I think that people's lives are changed. And I know the victim services, and some of your comments, the people just want to be heard. Know that somebody's hearing them and somebody is paying attention to them, and I think that's really important, and I want to thank you for that. Any questions from the commission?
Just a couple of comments, and I do have a couple of questions as well.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, Commissioner.
Again, as the chairman said, thank you especially for the increase in the tax exemptions, because I know primary portion of that was generated by our activity in terms of a certain segment of our community that we wanted to review in a different way, and so your office helped, one, create that mechanism, and two, actually do the work. So thank you to all of you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
other thing is, same thing with the chairman, the Victim Center. That was, I've said this before, that's one of the things that I had experience with in the DC area when I came here, that we have this, it's unique, and it's special, and special contribution to the community, so thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
But a couple of questions
Absolutely.
in regarding to your supplemental.
Yes.
I'll ask you the same question that I've asked everybody
Yes,
else.
absolutely.
In terms of the deliberations, and I know you made an effort to
Yes.
scrub
Yes.
where you could, and
I've gotten to the bone, I think, at this point, yeah.
so if we were have to, as we analyze things,
Yes.
be prepared for us to ask you the question if you can do more of that. So we may be asking, and this is, like I said, I've asked everybody the same question,
Certainly,
so
yes.
you're not unique. But in relation to the software, what, because you've used the example of Ohio as the example, what makes that fit your expectation different in that off-the-shelf software versus what you were trying to do here?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Daley. It's a night and day difference. I watched the demonstration and I was kind of in shock, right? Because the difference between what we were trying to build and what this can do, it's not even comparable, frankly. And I say that honestly, that this is already capable of doing what we need to do it without having to really do a whole lot. I mean, there are going to be little adjustments here and there, but when we look through it, every time I would say, well, we need it to be able to do this, they're like, yeah, right here, it can do this. Whereas with OnBase, unfortunately, it doesn't even have the capacity. It's not like it can even be built to do what we need it to do, and this is already built to do what we need it to do. It's clear that they, at least from me looking at it, they've worked with prosecutors to be able to understand their business need, and what our business need is very similar to what they've done in the past. But I think even more than that, as they go out and continue to work with prosecutors' offices, they're perfecting it, and they're very, very capable of making adjustments as we need. So, and the other part is the Axon interface that we're going to have is going to really make the courtroom piece and the not courtroom piece, the preparation piece, seamless. Right now, I could have a whole bunch of prosecutors up here to tell you how frustrating it is that they're having to toggle between different systems to get different information. And I know I have to do it. It's frustrating for me, but I'm not in a courtroom anymore where I'm having to do it on the fly while a jury is sitting there. And so, OnBase does not have that capacity. It has stressed and strained my prosecutors who were trying to build it, the support staff, I think IT, and it's pretty much night and day difference. It just wasn't built for a prosecutor system, whereas the Matrix Prosecutor, as its name reflects, is based on what prosecutors need, what they do. So it's built for prosecutors, and that's really the fundamental difference. So if we didn't have Matrix Point, I'm not really sure where else to pivot because we've looked at other prosecutor-based systems, but this is so far ahead of anything else that we've seen, in my opinion. And looking at the interface with Axon makes it even more beneficial to us. So combing through the budget and getting to what is bone right now within our budget, which is already as lean as I can possibly be, I feel like for what we're getting, the $132,750 would really get us what we're looking at. Now, understanding, subscription costs can go up, I think, 2 to 4% every year, but to really get us going and started, I have done everything in my power to make this easy for you to say yes. So, and I will do my best to answer any other questions about our budget, about where I've looked and how I've done that. But I literally combed through everything to try to see and to look at trends so that I could do this. The other part, as you know, is really, it is, a mandate for me to, from the state getting us off their system and me somewhere else, which is what, I'm trying to do. So I really have to do it this year. I think, I don't know what their timeline is. Like I said, they've been very patient with me. We've, had a year or so to really try to build this on base up, but it's an urgent request from my standpoint to be able to demonstrate to them that I'm moving on to this system and that they can work with me to get what I need out of their system into this, which I do have a lot of that because we worked with OnBase to get some of the data. I think there's one outstanding request still, but I'm working on getting everything I need so that we can stand up this system as soon as possible.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Then one last.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Because this is the first year and you anticipated way more than that in the out years. So you're looking at that as well in terms of the future budgets, in terms of what you're going to have to do
Yes.
to address that in future years.
Yes, absolutely. Certainly. Yes,
Thanks.
sir. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. I think I have another, as I'm sitting here thinking about this, I notice your caseloads have gone up quite a bit. And I'm wondering if, and of course, corresponding to that is your activity's gone up. And of course, our population has increased. But when compared to some national averages, Idaho seems to have a lot more people in state penitentiary than most states. I'm wondering if you could comment on what we could do to maybe sort of ameliorate that, because that's having a deleterious effect in our jail. Because the state's not real prompt in getting their prisoners out of the jail, and that causes us to spend more money in the jail than we probably should. And is there something that you have noticed or have observed over the years that could help ameliorate that situation somewhat?
So, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, I think it's very layered, and it would probably take a longer conversation to dive deep into everything.
Just give us the Reader's Digest.
But the
first.
Reader's Digest. Well, so I think part of it is that Idaho and Ada County, as I'll speak for the Ada County Prosecutor's Office, we are going to prosecute crime.
Of course,
and
yeah.
so
And I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm
No,
saying
understood.
you're right up there firsthand. You kind of see what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. But my point is that I think other states have different philosophies and different models of how they do things. It isn't always that you're going to prosecute the crime and take that case forward. I think we see examples all over the country where prosecutors don't necessarily do that. So I think that then has the downstream effect, right, of people not going to prison. So those numbers in other states, without me knowing, I would have to know so much more about the numbers to understand theirs versus our numbers, and how statistics work it is looking at each case, which brings me to, I think, in order to really understand why each person is incarcerated, you have to understand how people get there. And so in my experience over 32 years, the judges that are imposing sentences are looking at all the statutory case law factors to make a determination of when somebody should be imposed a prison sentence. And the courts do that meticulously and very carefully after reviewing each individual case, just the same as we do when we're making a recommendation to the court about what we're asking the court to impose in particular sentence on a particular case. And in order to do that, it is very hard to make sweeping analysis of data. The only way to really understand it is to take each individual case and look at that case and what was the criminal history of the person that is in prison, what were the prior opportunities at rehabilitation, how many prior opportunities at rehabilitation. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm a person that deals in facts and evidence, and so I understand what's being said and the numbers that are being reported out, but for me, I need to do a deep dive to really understand that. And I think the only way to do that is looking at individual cases, the facts of that case, the criminal history. But what I see is judges getting it right. Judges are working very hard to make sure that when they look at a case, they're looking at all the factors that are statutory. In Idaho, I call it kind of presumptive probation, that unless it's a mandatory minimum or some other mandatory sentence, the courts have to look at probation first. And then once they look at putting the person on probation, what overcomes that presumption for probation? And what that is public safety, for the most part. There are other factors, but the primary factor that the court is looking at in determining, not the primary, there are many, but a factor of great consideration to the court and to prosecutors is public safety. So, and that is all statutory, that is all case law driven in terms of what the courts must look at in determining the sentence. And then there's an entire appellate process for review of if an offender appeals a sentence, a review of that decision by the judge, and was it a sentence that shouldn't have been imposed. And those are, in my experience, again, very rare that happens, that a case gets turned around for that. So again, long way of saying, I think there's a lot of data out there, but I think to really understand it, you have to look at each individual case.
Well, I thank you for that, and I want to emphasize that I'm glad you're putting people in the state penitentiary that deserve to be there. And I think what you commented on, which is accurate, I think there are certain elements of our nation that are trying to sow disruption. And so they promote prosecutors who will not prosecute. And we don't want anything like that. And I'm sure thankful for that you have an office that prosecutes and does a good job at it.
Well, thank you, sir.
We
I
don't want
appreciate that.
what we see in the disruption. I mean, some of the things you read about across this nation where somebody gets out on because at the prosecution's request, get out and then they go out and kill somebody. That's awful. And that sows the type of disruption that certain people are trying to impose on our society. And in some instances, even I think it was in San Francisco, they recalled the prosecutor because he wasn't prosecuting people. And I got one that is, and I guess it's sort of started to turn that city around a little bit, I believe. But
Thank you for that.
I want people who have committed a crime to pay the price for the crime they've committed, and hopefully they can get rehabilitated. But sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you,
Yeah.
Chairman.
All right, good. Any other questions? All right. Well, again, thank you.
Thank
for
you.
For you and your office, and great work that your office does, and we appreciate it. And I know that most of the people in the community appreciate it too.
Sir, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Chair.
Thank you, Prosecutor Bennett, for your presentation. All right. The Ada County procurement is led by Director Bob Perkins, CPPO, CPPB, NIGP, CPP, and performs essential procurement services for all Ada County offices and departments. In accordance with the board's procurement policy, they are responsible for the procurement of all county supplies, equipment, services, and construction in excess of $7,500. Procurement also is responsible for the management of the county's fleet and disposition of county surplus. The procurement's mission is to secure the maximum value for each taxpayer dollar. They do this by instituting effective internal processes and best practices combined with outreach efforts to help local businesses understand the county's procurement needs. Procurement has submitted a fiscal year 27 budget request, which is $127 under their base budget. No operating or personnel supplementals are being requested. It is my pleasure to introduce Director Bob Perkins, who will present the budget for procurement.
Welcome to the podium, Alphabet Bob.
Yes, well, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for your time this afternoon. I look forward to walking you through the Procurement Department's FY27 budget. While I have the opportunity and while I'm up here, I'd like to thank a few folks. First, I want to thank the board for all your support and leadership. You give us the resources and support to make us one of the best procurement programs in the country, and I really appreciate your support for that. I also want to thank Chief Operating Officer Steve Rutherford and the board staff for all their help and assistance throughout the year. And a quick shout out to our HR department, the operations department, and our IT department for giving procurement a lot of support throughout the year. And a big thank you to the clerk's office for all the help with our budget, and to Tim Sturgis, congratulations on your retirement coming up.
Thank you. You're envious, aren't you?
I am. So Tim and I started almost at the same time. Tim started right before me, so that must be meaning I'm close.
By about a year.
Yeah.
Next year, the golden calculator's yours.
Okay, it'll be passed on. I would also like to thank our civil attorneys and the prosecuting attorney's office for their legal guidance and collaboration throughout the year. And of course, I want to say thank you to my amazing procurement team who makes everything we do look easy, and I can assure you it's not. So I want to also extend a thank you to all of our clients. Over the course of my 16 years with the county, our internal customers have been absolutely wonderful to work with. We have accomplished some amazing projects, and along the way, we have made some lasting friendships. There is truly no other place quite like Ada County. I would be remiss if I didn't mention America's 250th birthday. I want to say thank you to the board and to the Treasurer Beth Mon for bringing forth each week a new Spuddy Buddy in the open business meeting to enrich us with reflection and history. So thank you for that. When I was 9 years old, I remember America celebrating the bicentennial. And now here we are celebrating the semi-quincentennial. And as the saying goes, time flies. That was a quick 50 years. So I want to bring up a picture of our procurement team up there. That's our team. And our team's mission in procurement is procurement with purpose. And that purpose is to secure the best value for the county and to be prudent with taxpayer dollars by investing in our core values, which are integrity, trust, value, and accountability. Each day, my staff walks through the courthouse doors, purpose-driven to those value and mission statements. They find ways to make sure the county is getting the best value and at the highest level of professionalism. So some notable highlights in FY26 that I'd like to mention in my presentation today include some projects that we've been working on, and these projects will directly benefit our community for years to come. I will highlight a few of those. The county's ERP system, also known as Ada Central, has kept us quite busy, and I have a few updates to share. We have several areas where procurement has contributed to cost savings for the county, and I'll touch on some of those. Over the last few years, procurement has been racking up the awards and recognition, and I'd like to highlight a few from this last year. So starting off with our county projects, we are currently at 60 projects for the year, which puts us on pace to be at 80 projects by year end. The estimated spend for these projects will total close to $41 million. We have helped out on some amazing projects for the county this last year, and some of those projects include the park at Expo, Idaho, the CAMA and property system tax system, the Barber Park Greenbelt improvements, the Ada County Jail Phase 1 kitchen remodel and site work, weed, pest, and mosquito abatement drone shop and parking lot that we're currently working on now. And also operations maintenance projects. While maintenance projects may not be the glamorous projects, they are essential to keep an Ada County property in functioning order. These projects include roof replacements, storefront window replacements, water line work, generators replaced, and rooftop units updated. So special thanks to our operations department for all they do in keeping our facilities operating at peak performance. I want to highlight some of the recent improvements in Ada Central. Over the course of the last year, we added 2 vendor punch-outs, and that is for Amazon Business and Strive Workplace Solutions. These punch-outs make procuring items more efficient for our offices and departments, helping them to save dollars by leveraging contracted items and procuring the items quicker by punching out directly from the supplier's website back into our Ada Central system. Also, procurement is currently working with the clerk's office and information technology department to bring forward an auto approval for less than $7,500 requisitions. This new release will make direct purchases workflow faster through our requisition system. And for small purchases less than $7,500 that cannot be procured through one of our punch-outs, the auto approval option will help to make the procurement of these items more efficient. So this slide highlights some of the key metrics. Given our current year-to-date numbers for FY26, we are on pace to issue close to 17,000 purchase orders, which this will equate to about $190 million in purchase order spend. We will also have managed 80 solicitations equating to approximately $41 million in spend. For our bids and RFPs, we are averaging about 5 vendors submittals per solicitation, and the more participation in our solicitations, the more competitive the pricing will be for our clients. With an eye towards value in our solicitations for projects, the procurement department strives to save the county dollars on every project we are involved with. With regards to project savings, we endeavor to save 6% to 10% on each of our projects. In FY25, we were able to save 29% from project budgets. So far in FY26, our savings on projects amount to around 25%. For our items that are no longer needed for the county, we use auctions to surplus the items. We typically will see anywhere from $20,000 to $60,000 in auction proceeds. This year alone, we are already on track to save around get $137,000 back in proceeds. The lion's share of those proceeds are from our vehicle sales for right-sizing our fleet. Ada County Marketplace continues to help internal offices and departments with their office equipment needs. For those unfamiliar with what Marketplace is, this is an internal web page where offices and departments can offer up used office supplies, office equipment, and other items no longer needed to other offices and departments in the county. This allows for offices the opportunity to have these items reallocated to them as opposed to buying new. Marketplace continues to shine as an example of internal collaboration and the sharing of resources. Over the course of the last 3 years, we have seen more and more use of Marketplace, and all total, a little over $96,000 of items reallocated has occurred. So I want to talk just a little bit about cooperative procurement. Commissioner Daley, you had inquired at our January 26th open business meeting about the use of government cooperative procurement contracts. So I thought I'd give a little background and information on how we use cooperatives here at the county. For people in the room and for people online, Cooperative Procurement Program is an organization that have a portfolio of competitively bid contracts that government agencies can utilize when it makes sense for goods and services. Such as information technology, vehicles, heavy equipment, and public safety. Many of these contracts are from large public agencies, so Ada County can enjoy the same purchasing power as even the largest government entities in the United States. I hear the phrase game changer used quite a bit, but cooperative procurement really truly is a game changer. The legislation that allows for cooperative purchasing is Idaho Code 672807. And it was passed in 2019. With the help of the Idaho Public Purchasing Association, the Association of Counties, and the Idaho Association of Cities, this legislation passed unanimously and was signed into law. Here at the county, we utilize several different cooperatives, such as the State of Idaho's NASPO contracts, Omnia Partners, Sourcewell, Buy Board, and that's just to name a few. The savings the county realizes by using cooperative contracts is around 5 to 25% for the goods and services, depending on the commodity or the service. Some of these programs even offer rebates along with the discounted costs. There's also the reduction of cycle time, also known as speed to procurement. This is reduced by 50 to 80%. There are also administrative savings of 15 to 35% for using the cooperatives. So not only are there direct savings from utilizing cooperative contracts in terms of discounts and rebates, but recently the National Cooperative Procurement Partners conducted a nationwide RFP tracking project and found that the indirect cost for soliciting complex RFP projects is around $17,400 per project. And for non-complex projects, it's about $1,700. So utilizing cooperatives for purchases, there are savings realized all throughout the procurement process. So in a nutshell, cooperative procurement serves the county by helping our clients get the products they need timely and at a discounted cost to the county. So looking ahead to our FY27 priorities. Regarding strategic sourcing, we will continue to use market analysis, cooperative contract utilization, and consolidated purchasing to maximize value on every dollar spent. We also have continued to work on some important procurement legislation. Commissioners, we have some really awesome contractors and vendors that do amazing work for the county. However, there are times when we have seen bad actors in these, and in these times, we need the ability to deal with non-performing contractors such as the state of Idaho has. Responsible bidder legislation needs to be part of our bid laws. Before I retire, I'd like to see this legislation become statute. Also, we will be leveraging technology in FY27. We will utilize AI and our procurement systems to gain better information to help make better informed procurement decisions. With continuous improvement in our processes, we will be using data from our current systems like Ada Central, Monday.com, and Bonfire eProcurement to help drive ongoing efficiency gains. This will in return help to reduce cycle times and help in identifying consolidation opportunities. We will also be delivering better outcomes year over year. Okay, so on to my favorite part of the budget presentation and really my proud moment as a director, and that's staff recognitions throughout this last year. So Ken Sinclair, our fleet manager for Ada County, earned his Certified Automotive Fleet Manager Professional Certification this last October. Since earning the CAFM, Ken has advanced his professional development and is empowered with better skill sets and knowledge. This sets him apart from others in his field. In this picture is Ken accepting his CAFM at the National Association of Fleet Administrators Conference last April. At this same conference, I want to highlight that the NAFA 100 Best Government Fleet Award, which recognizes organizations that are top-tier, peak-performing public fleet operators, this program identifies and encourages the ever-increasing levels of performance improvement and innovation within the fleet industry. Ada County was just outside the top 100 this last April, but we did receive an honorable mention. This competition is heavily dominated by agencies in California, Florida, and Texas. So for Ada County to be mentioned lets us know that we are on the right track with our fleet program. And that's not too shabby for a fleet program only 3 years in the making. I also want to make mention for the 5th year in a row, Ada County Procurement was awarded the National Procurement Institute's Achievement of Excellence in Procurement. We are the first and only government agency in Idaho to receive this award, and we were one of 48 counties across the nation recognized for this achievement. We were judged on our best practice criteria and measured by our demonstration of exceeding the highest standards in innovation, professionalism, productivity, e-procurement, and leadership. This award really sums up the dedication my staff has towards being the best that we can be. And this July, we'll see if we can make it 6 years in a row. I also want to mention that FY26 brought us a couple new additions to procurement. at no cost to the county. This was Olga and her husband Andre were blessed with their daughter Melanie in October, and Evan and his wife Katie had a baby boy, Dean, in March. And it does my heart good to see these young families growing. So in previous slides, I mentioned some of the cost savings procurement was able to account for in FY26. Now I want to talk a little bit about cost increases. Procurement's insurance premiums increased 92% for FY26 and an additional 78% going into FY27. A large portion of the insurance increase was for auto insurance due to acquiring additional fleet units in our courthouse motor pool. We were able to absorb this in our current budget and will not be asking for a supplemental for this increase. So with that, on to our budget requests. My final slide for you commissioners is our FY27 budget requests. And I'm not asking for any employees. I'm not asking for any supplementals this year. And additionally, as mentioned in the previous slide, we are absorbing the insurance increases in our current budget. I am, however, asking for special salary adjustments for our fleet manager and our procurement manager. And this is all within our A budget from salary savings. And finally, as you've heard in other presentations, there's a lot of economic pressures on our paychecks for our employees. And I would support any merit or COLA increases that the board could bring forth this year. So for FY27, the procurement department is submitting a flat budget. And commissioners, with that, that's the end of my presentation for our budget, and happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Well, thanks, Bob. We appreciate your presentation. I appreciate your work that you do for the community and for the county itself. And we'll be working with you to get your wish and get your legislation changed. Hopefully this might just be the year to get that done. Anyway, thanks a lot. Any questions from the board? Have any questions? All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, commissioners.
Thank you, great.
Do you want to?
It's all yours.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Commissioners,
Good
Mr.
afternoon,
Chairman,
I should say. Thank you.
thank you for the time to present my fleet program today.
Absolutely.
I'd like to also thank the departments out there that have worked with me to right-size their fleets and get the equipment that they need. I think we've done a great job working together to get that done. And the ones that voluntarily gave their vehicles over to the pool, the new pool system, and even the ones that didn't volunteer those vehicles, we got those moved over, and they're appreciating that pool system as well. So really appreciate them for doing that. So FY26 purchases, we had $805,000 in the budget. We have so far spent $739,000 of that. 92% of that budget has been utilized. We do have several new vehicles. We purchased a new dump truck flatbed for operations, an enclosed service body truck for operations, 3 new flatbed trucks for weed, and 2 new coroner vehicles. 1 new IT vehicle and 2 SUVs, 1 for the prosecutor and 1 for the treasurer. So all these new vehicles coming in are going to save money going down the road, getting rid of all those old ones that use too much fuel and higher maintenance. These vehicles also have been upfitted so that when they come in, with the exception of the coroner vehicles, I'm working on putting the striker units in those, but these come in ready to roll so that they're not sitting around waiting for upfits. And then to those pool units, the program has been very successful. We have 9 pool vehicles in there now, and from the old system, using a calendar to reserve the vehicles that we had, we have the Key Cafe system. We have upped the users 130%, went from 20 to 46 at the end of April there, and it's still going up. We've still got people signing up for that and using it, and it's working really well. Better utilization of those vehicles. Rising fuel costs are a factor in the procurement budget. I think EVs and hybrids would be great in that pool sometime in the future. We don't have any of those vehicles that travel over 300 miles in one time, so I think an EV would work in there. So something to think about for the future. With that budget, 80% of the fuel budget in procurement has already been used this year. So just with that rising utilization, more usage of those vehicles, and more being in that pool, procurement is paying more for that fuel and maintenance. I have a little future goals. My primary goal is telematics integration. Right now, I'm working on a garage management system with the landfill, which is going to give me a lot more data into the Holman system. When they maintain those vehicles, I will have that on record. It keeps that record for a long time, so it's good to have it in there. But telematics gives you real-time information. If a check engine light comes on in a vehicle, it comes to me. It tells me why it's on and what we need to do to get that fixed. So telematics does a lot for, it's pretty much the gold standard of fleet management. And it just adds to the life of the vehicle to have the maintenance done on time. Also helps us with that 100 Best Fleets program. If we're getting those done, the services done on those on time, and less downtime on the vehicle. With that, this is a snapshot of that Holman Insights program. This has real-time information in there. Now, with telematics, that would add to this, and I do have, that page actually scrolls down. There's more graphs on there. There's another dashboard that I work from. This one kind of shows, we have up in the corner, the vehicles in service, and then there's the out of service ones, and then the sold vehicles. It keeps track of all of those. We can pull up those sold vehicles at any time. I can click on that, it'll bring up the list of vehicles, and it tells us when they were sold, what we got for them, and still maintains all the maintenance records on them as well. Very good system to use. And then we have fuel expenditure here, and the fuel usage. And you can see the fuel usage has gone down, but the expense has stayed up, and that is because of the rising costs. Luckily, we have gone down in fuel usage, and that is from using newer vehicles and utilizing them correctly. The bottom graph down here also, I use that a lot in planning for the future of replacement vehicles. It shows all the vehicles' ages, and we can click on that anywhere in the live screen, and it tells me which vehicles are in which category. Right, we've got them 10 years and newer. There's a lot more in there now. There are still some old ones showing in there, but a lot of them are out of the control. We've got some out at the expo and places like that that are not replaced from the general fund. That honorable mention that Bob already mentioned, to get that the first time we applied, I did finish my CAFM in October and then just had a month or so to work on that application. So got a lot of information in there. I am really planning on getting this fleet better every day that I'm here. So I plan on getting into that 100 top fleets here very soon. And the ways to do that is to just keep improving, and that's what we want to do. Right-sizing the fleet, we have sold quite a few vehicles while upgrading the fleet. We have also auctioned off the old vehicles and underutilized vehicles, making the Ada County fleet more cost-effective and dependable. We have brought revenue on old vehicles, cut insurance, depreciation, and maintenance costs. That is also where we will pull any of the underutilized and put them in that pool. And then just a update on the car wash change. Ada County changed car wash vendor due to the cost concerns. The new vendor arrangement uses the Ada County Sheriff's Office contract, reducing the per wash cost from $11 to $6 per vehicle, a 45% reduction. We are always looking for ways to save money for the taxpayer and Ada County in these ways. And that is a brief update of the fleet management system. So I am open for any questions you may have.
Well, thank you. We appreciate the update and your hard work on getting a fleet established. I just had a couple of questions for you. So you have 9 vehicles in the pool right now.
Yes, sir.
What's your goal, your ultimate objective?
That, as that system grows, we have 46 users right now, and it keeps going up. So as that demand comes up, I am always looking at the departments and what they're using their vehicles for and how much they're using them. The Holman system lets me track all that by the fuel usage. So I would like to have at least 20 in there in the next couple of years, but that number just depends on what's being used where for the usage. As the usage goes up on those 9 vehicles, we'll have to pull more in there.
Well, there's one thing I'd like to maybe change our nomenclature just a little bit. You said that this department's vehicle or this department's vehicle, they're all Ada County vehicles.
They are, yes.
All Ada County vehicles.
Yes.
And we'd like to have most of our vehicles in the fleet or
Yes.
in the pool, because I think by doing that, we would cut down on the number of vehicles that we have, which then reduces the cost and would increase the utility.
Definitely.
And that's a good thing.
Yes.
So,
There are about 60 of them that are normal vehicles that don't have equipment mounted to them.
well, I'm not talking about specialized
Right,
equipment.
right.
We don't want the coroner's vehicle in the pool. We don't want the operations vehicles in the pool.
Exactly.
Or the, for that matter, the landfill. Now, maybe we get some of those big trucks and put those in the pool. That might work.
Yeah, definitely.
No, that's not what we're talking about.
But yeah, but of those 60, some of those are used on a daily basis by those departments, so it doesn't make any sense to move those. But there are more that we will be moving.
You mean daily, 8 hours a day?
They use them quite a bunch. We can, and the Holman system does keep track of that usage, so I can see that. And any of them that are underutilized will be moved to that pool.
Well, we'd like to see the pool ever expanding.
Yes, yes.
All right, any other questions, Commissioner?
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, go ahead.
just a couple of questions. You've only had a short period of time to compare the usage data, the cost per mile, et cetera. Is that improving based on our new process for reviewing what we do and how we do it with our vehicles? That's the first question.
For the fuel usage?
Yeah, fuel use, just overall cost per mile.
Oh, yes. So the newer vehicles are getting better fuel mileage, and the maintenance costs have come down as well. If we didn't have the new vehicles that we've bought over the last 2 years in there, I think our fuel costs would be way higher than they are now, because our usage is still there. Actually, it's come down a little bit, but the cost has stayed, it's maintained the same. we've used less fuel with the prices going up. So we are using less fuel right now than we have in the past. And that has to be given credit to those newer vehicles.
One more, Chairman.
Go ahead.
What's the criteria for evaluation of fleets? That award, the top 100.
Yes.
What's the criteria that they use to evaluate, put people in those categories?
They do a lot of the on-time maintenance. They watch for downtime of your vehicles. So if they're sitting in a shop overnight or 24 hours, that counts against you in that. So they watch all of those numbers for your turnaround in maintenance shops, your fuel costs, all that kind of stuff. The more efficient you can make that fleet, the higher you will rate in that competition.
Efficiency's good in fleets as well as
Yes.
everything else we do. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I think you guys have a great day.
Thank you. You bet.
Thank you for those two presentations. All right. Human Resources, led by Director Bethany Calley, supports the HR, benefits, and risk management needs of Ada County and its various offices and departments. This includes recruitment and hiring, training, benefits administration, policy development and implementation, employee relations, leave management, employee compensation, workers' compensation, the self-insured liability program, and related functions. HR serves 2,300 county employees. HR serves all employees and dependents on our county benefits plan. There are nearly 4,800 covered individuals on the county benefits plan. HR has submitted a fiscal year 27 budget request that exceeds their base budget by $377,201. They are requesting one personnel supplemental for $117,665 and 4 operating supplementals for $261,600, totaling $379,265. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce Director Bethany Calley, who will present the budget for Human Resources.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners. Thankful to be here with you this afternoon. Before I begin, I do want to say the thank yous to the Auditor's Office for their partnership during the budget development and throughout the year. Also, our internal service providers, operations, IT, procurement, our healthcare trust in particular, and we have 5 employees who sit on that trust as trustees and take on a huge responsibility in that role. We have a lot of vendor partners, elected officials, department heads, and county employees who work collaboratively with us every day. Additionally, as you're well aware, we manage some large funds for our risk and our healthcare trust. And I'd like to give a shout out to the civil prosecutors and the attorneys who are assigned and help us day in and day out in those key responsibilities here. HR exists for its vision and its purpose, specifically our vision. People are our purpose. Solutions are our focus. And today I'd like to weave through core 3 things today, and that is in regards to what we've delivered this year, what are the challenges that we face as the county continues to grow, and of course there will be some discussion in regards to the investments needed in order to see continued success at Ada County. Not just for my department, but the work that we do for all of the employees as well as the dependents on our various plans. Again, I mentioned our vision and our values, as you can see there. Over the past several years, your HR department worked very hard as a team to come up with a new vision and mission. And we really do genuinely care about all people. That includes our employees, their families, but also our taxpayers and our community, and we're very mindful of that. And as you're aware, we are asking for some excess funds this year from our base, and we hope to demonstrate to you the intents and the benefits that will come from those as well. We serve big, we're better together, and we work to build trust. When people think about human resources, a lot of times they think about hiring, compensation, and benefits. We also are a compliance function, that is the reality, but a strategic partner supporting every elected office and department. We give a lot of services, recruitment, compensation, benefits, risk management, employee relations, training, and communications across the county. We do administer a lot of state and federal requirements, including workers' comp, our public records, FMLA, ADA, the Affordable Care Act, and FLSA compliance. Again, we support everyone across the agency, and we're very proud of the work that we do. I'm incredibly proud of my team, and as you can see here, you can see the faces behind the team members on the HR department. I wish I had the time today to highlight each member of our team individually, because every one of them contributes meaningfully to our success. A few highlights from the past year. I'm especially proud of the talented individuals that we've recruited back. That's happened over multiple years where we've got what we call boomerang employees, and it's wonderful to have them back and hear about their experiences that they gained and that they've brought back to Ada County. We are seeing immediate reward from those individuals coming back to our agency. During the past year, we've had members of staff who have earned college degrees, professional certifications, other respected credentials, and others are continuing to work towards further credentials as well. Time and again, our employees have gone above and beyond, dedicating extra hours and extraordinary effort to make sure that the work gets done. Our funding level last year, you restored our FY25 funding level for our HR specialist position. That allowed us to hire an HR communications specialist, and that investment has paid dividends already here at Ada County. So thank you very much for your efforts in that regard. Additionally, we were able to, again, rehire individuals back with the funding that you provided to us. Our employee relations team has spent several years rebuilding and is now fully staffed. Later in the presentation, I'll share more about their workload as well as additional information about our risk management team. As part of our presentations, you asked us to discuss the hurdles and pain points that we have, and I'll highlight a few, and you'll hear more about these as we continue through. Number one, staffing and bandwidth. We are a very lean group of individuals for servicing over 2,200 positions at Ada County, 4,800 lives on our health benefit plans. Earlier in the week, you heard from your Chief Information Officer, Steve O'Mara. Our software subscription costs, definitely an impact for us and where we've seen some increases there. Those are elements that we simply can't go without, and they do increase over time. I'd like to mention a little bit about Oracle and technology modernization. You know, there's times when there's a perception that a new initiative like an HIRS or AI is going to automatically reduce workloads. It's our experience that while these tools create opportunities for efficiency, they do also require significant human effort, expertise, and implementation, and ensure that we're doing the work that we need to do to keep those moving forward. As you're very well aware, healthcare cost, a frequent question that's asked of us is, where can you find savings within healthcare? The reality is that significant cost reductions are often not realistic. However, cost containment and mitigation are a core focus of human resources and the group that we have working hard for you. I'd like to comment in regards to the reality of working in HR. We're here for the best of times and the worst of times. We are here for some of those most important moments in employees' life: new jobs, promotions, families, new babies. We heard a little bit about that earlier today. At the same time, we also help employees navigate some very significant worst of time events in their lives: deaths, disabilities, serious illnesses, some of life's most difficult circumstances. Our staff truly walks hand in hand with those individuals and helps them through the best and the worst of times, and we're very thankful to have the opportunity to do that. With that, despite those challenges, I want to highlight a little bit of the things that we do here with our team and contributing across the county. You know, we visit departments and offices across the county. You can see a few members of our team here out at Ada County Paramedics. We're very appreciative of the work that they do. The Park at Expo, we're very proud of what's happening with Ada County, going out and doing the risk management reviews and looking at what's happening out there to ensure that we do our part. HR, we do have our annual haunted hallway, and we like to try and invite all employees in and their families to see that we really do have fun in HR and to welcome them into our environment. And finally, we are very well aware of our healthcare utilization, and as we've highlighted for you, hypertension is high, so we've got some walk-in meetings going on that we're doing, getting out there and getting ourselves moving to help in that regard. And then, of course, local training. What are some of the stats behind the individuals here? We support over 2,100 lives as far as our own employees, 4,800 covered lives on the plans. We've completed 950 compensation workloads just in this current fiscal year, hundreds of salary actions processed, 748 training participants, more than 200 countywide communications, 30 public records requests have been filled. Our risk program has saved over $8.4 million in the last 5 years for Ada County and Ada County taxpayers. Over 3,500 applications have been received to date this fiscal year. That does not include the sheriff's office, and I'm sure they'll probably be highlighting some information about their recruitment initiatives as well. But these are very key measurable outcomes from your team within Ada County HR. Some additional highlights, our compensation team. I'm very proud of the operational continuity that we've had happen. As you're aware, we lost a comp analyst to a nearby government agency this year. That was at a very unfortunate time of the year when we're very, very busy. Mid-December through mid-February is when we had a vacancy there. We had a very significant market analysis project that we were working on in partnership with the sheriff's office. Additionally, all the other workloads that come in as we head into new budget years. This is an area where we were blessed to be able to hire somebody back to Ada County who had left Ada County, got some incredible compensation experience out in both the public and private sector, and we're able to come in and be a plug-and-play resource here for us and a part of our family here at HR. We've developed a lot of dashboards. You'll see more about this in a moment, but ways in which we can better dynamically grab data and information that you're looking for. Pay scale professionals. This is just, again, another example of a software subscription and a service that we utilize to help us with our compensation analysis and be able to look at both government sector data as well as private sector data. You have a screenshot up on your screen right now in regards to our compensation dashboard that has been developed. I want to focus on this because this is where we have our most significant organizational risk and demand and need for a new staff member. Today, Ada County, again, I've said this before, 2,100 employees, but there's over 500 classifications and 1 compensation analyst. Despite that staffing level, we have completed significant amounts of workload. You can see across your screen right there, 950. That's just this current fiscal year of total. 81 comp analysis requests. Those include things like market analysis, evaluating compensation for a new hire, evaluating compensation for promotions. 377 A budget requests. So you have in front of you some decisions to make. This team worked fast, furious, and mighty to be able to review all of those, and therefore we can hopefully comment as you continue to deliberate on those decisions next week. Mid-year request, you're very well aware of the work that's been done this last year. I'm very appreciative to the departments and offices who have worked with us as we have certainly gone through some changes in the last year, and we continue to work hard to try and refine that to make it as efficient as possible, but also help you to carry out your statutory obligations in setting compensation at Ada County. In total, if we were just to look at the last 4 years of the total requests and the workloads for the comp team, 1,346 total requests. Please bear in mind that a lot of times behind those requests, there are hundreds of employees per request. In some cases, some it's fewer, but that is a significant amount of work that's been performed by a very lean group of people. In regards to comp and benefits, also, we're very proud of our education and outreach. You can see the number of hours up on your screen. I won't go into a ton of detail, but a couple of highlights of what we've been doing. We recently presented to all department heads and elected officials in regards to the healthcare trust, our utilization levels, and some new offerings that are coming to Ada County, and some reduced costs to our own employees with certain supplemental benefit options that they have available for them. We've also developed a not-so-new employee orientation. That's been piloted with a couple of offices and will soon be getting offered out across the county to help employees better see their benefit options and make some selections as their life circumstances change during their employment here at Ada County. As far as benefits, in the intro, it was mentioned the number of lives that are on our plan. As you can see, the number of covered individuals, so our actual employee population staying fairly consistent. I think it is noteworthy that while we lost over 100 positions to the state with the Public Defender's Office, we still, with our total covered lives, have continued to grow. And that is rather significant in nature. I'd like to give a huge shout out to our employee relations team and training and development, organizational development, and the hard work that they do. It's an area where we work closely with departments and offices to provide training. As you can see here so far, just in FY26, there's been 47 courses that have been offered, 748 total participants. That's an average of 16 participants per course, and 108.5 training hours involved. They work really hard, and we're looking forward to launching some initiatives in the next fiscal year for county-wide leadership and management training, which has been in high demand. Incredibly proud of our risk management team. They are a small but mighty team of 3 full-time staff members who directly create significant savings to Ada County taxpayers. From 2021 to 2025, you can see right there, I mentioned earlier, $8.4 million of savings. That represents real taxpayer savings while maintaining effective risk protection for county operations. How do we do this? The county is self-funded, our workers' comp plan, our general liability, our auto, and our unemployment claims. We do procure property insurance, but we work very hard, and our broker works exceptionally well on our benefit to get the best value that we can for those third-party insurances that we do need to secure. A key initiative this year is the certificates of insurance software that will benefit every single office and department. There's a lot of efficiency that has been lost over the years in the retention and watching track pieces of paper, every office having their own Excel spreadsheet. There will now be one solution that will carry and ensure that all of our vendors are carrying appropriate insurance requirements as needed in doing business with Ada County to ensure to protect your dollars and your risks and your liabilities. In regards to our proposed budget, we did have an increase from what our base budget was. I'll speak to those. There is a significant amount that is one-time funding, and then, of course, the position, and I'll go through that. What I can tell you is that my management team, they work very hard. They literally go line by line and look at every single line, and there's a lot of movement. I won't go into all those details, but they definitely take a look at what the actual spends have been and make adjustments as needed. On the personnel side, we have some changes that are funded within our allocated budget. I mentioned our small but mighty risk team. We have a risk analyst that has evolved and grown into a risk management program analyst. So there is an adjustment there in order to recognize that workload performance. It is within budget. We do have a reclassification of a generalist to a consultant. There is no additional cost with that. That individual has taken on a lot of workload, extra workload, and currently receiving a conditional pay for that. Finally, we have one position that was in need of a market adjustment. We had the full funding, the recommendation that was given from the comp analyst for that position. We did hire lower than that. We're looking to bring that to the base of the recommendation that was originally given to us at that time. As far as our supplemental expenses, you can see operations up, yes, $261,000. Of that, $245,000 is a one-time expense. And then for our personnel position, that's $117,000 in front of you. Our hurdles and our pain points, again, I'm going to go back. We're going to look at these operating expenses more, specifically space. We're currently in a location that was is 20 years ago that it was planned for. And things have changed here in HR, and we have a need for some additional office space. We have a lot of lobby space that could be better used in order to be able to have appropriate office space for the confidential nature of the work that we perform in human resources. And of course, staffing, which I'll go into next. You've heard this a lot. I asked for one last year, another compensation analyst position. I am back again. This is a position that is of significant importance. You're very well aware, and I think you all have a unique, close-hand insight into the work that is done by our comp analysts that we have on staff. If we're going to continue to do the work that we currently have, as well as improve the efforts of what's being done at Ada County on behalf of our employees and leadership to have an effective compensation plan, then we need additional staff to help with that. Our comp analyst is challenged with having sufficient time to fulfill the requests that we currently get and maintaining and operating the program. Reassessment of the program is crucial, and just to meet the expense we want, or meet the current demands, we want to move from being reactive, which is essentially what we are now, to more proactive. Again, thank you for the full funding from last year. Last year I did come in and ask for 3 new positions. We are still in need of those. However, in mind of the situation that we're in with our fiscal resources this year and recognizing some of our operations expenses we need this year, we are here to ask for the compensation analyst. You can see again a little bit more about the workloads. You can see this increasing every single year. These are specific to wage recommendations, job descriptions, and Fair Labor Standards audits and comp analysis that we do, and you can see where those have grown every single year. And again, while those, as an example of so far in FY25, the 210, bear in mind, behind the 210 requests are a lot more positions that were impacted by these. Industry data suggests that organizations of our size typically support approximately one comp professional for every 1,600 positions. And Ada County, we have over 2,200 positions here. So we are below that recommended amount. And at the same time, we're trying to mature the program and meet the needs and the demands that are being placed upon us here at Ada County. You can see on the slide right here the things that we look to do. I'm not going to go into the details of every single thing, but as you're fully aware, we're looking at market competitiveness and the pay that we're offering our employees. We also have to ensure that we're analyzing the pay equity and fairness within the county. You often ask us, do employees fully understand their total rewards? So that's an important element of the role that we have there. And of course, employee experience, engagement, and regulatory compliance areas that impact us. Some of our initiatives and functions that we'd like to be focused on with having an additional compensation analyst position, we'll be looking at our salary structure, our administration procedure and guidelines, and have those more fully available and educated out to the masses at Ada County to better understand the work that we do. And of course, the education and outreach, both for managers, leaders, and our own employees as well, and prospective employees too. We do a lot of work in regards to that, of helping them understand the value of coming to Ada County. You asked us to address why new positions were requested. Hope that I've offered some insights there and that your own experience with it certainly has unique insights. We do have a lean budget. It's not as though we have funds we can just move around to fund $117,000 of a PCN, position control number. Finally, you asked us to cover what will happen if the position is not granted. If it's not funded, we will have longer turnaround times. We will continue reactive-only work, and we may not be able to react to all of the demands that are placed upon us. We do have increased risk of pay compression issues, fewer opportunities to proactively address compensation concerns before they are larger problems. But bottom line, for my staff, we can only tax the staff so long with the demands that we have currently. We have a very slim bandwidth, and it is taxing on individuals, and I care much about the burnout potential that could happen in our compensation area in particular. Our other requests that we have in there, again, a majority of this is one-time funding. HR and procurement, we share a lobby. We work together on this project of looking at the lobby space and operations. Thank you, Bob Carney, for bringing in the architect to help look at the design and the needs. And the projection for that is $150,000 for the remodel in order to create the offices that are needed in order to support the demands that we have and ensure the confidentiality within HR. $15,000 for furniture and equipment. We have some additional software for communication and engagement in there, and a leadership development program. As you've seen, our bandwidth is a certain amount. We do want to supplement this with some third-party resources to continue to meet the demands and the requests from our offices and departments. Executive recruitment, this is in regards to your department heads and when we have to look outside of the area and we bring them in for interviews. So it's just getting that funding back into our budget to help with that should we have another position to be looking for. We've certainly had several over the last couple of years we've worked on. Kind of really covered all of these. I want to be mindful of the time this afternoon and our scheduled break. That brings our department operations and personnel budget to a close. Commissioners, HR exists to support the people who deliver the services to Ada County residents. In summary, we are delivering results. I shared about the risk savings, training and development, benefit support, and compensation services. The demand continues to grow. Our workload data, our complexity, as well as county growth. For this year, our compensation capacity is our most critical need and is followed by our office remodel. Thank you for your time and your partnership, your continued support of the employees who serve the residents of Ada County. Before we finish, this closes the part of our operational budget. One of the other elements in our area to cover for you is our current state of our health benefits and specifically the impact on premiums as you have to look at some future decisions. Our benefits team continues to manage a very large and significant county financial obligations here. The healthcare costs continue to rise nationally. Ada County is not immune. We aggressively manage those contracts, work in partnership with our broker to do the best that we can to contain those costs. In FY27, we are projecting approximately $37 million in medical costs, and it's roughly a 7% increase on our medical and 12% on our pharmacy. That translates to about a $4 million increase in medical over last year. And while we can't control the state of healthcare in general, we can ensure that we have the best contract provisions, and we're doing the best that we can with that. So what ultimately does that mean in regards to the funding within the plan? Thank you so much to the auditor's office, to the healthcare trust. We have all met several times during the year and looking at what the options might be. What you'll see in front of you is, first off, in regards to the county funding, working with the auditor's office and slotting in the funds there from the county funding resource there. The healthcare trustees have been incredibly supportive of helping ease the burden of premium increases being passed on to employees. For the past 2 years, the trust has essentially subsidized the premiums by about 5% of the total cost, or about $1.6 million. The trustees recently had a very robust discussion about this and have indicated the interest in providing an additional $2.4 million. While this is a valuable addition in the current year, I do offer some caution that these extra available dollars may not be available in future years. That being said, as costs continue to increase, that will leave the burden of those increases back to the county or splitting off for our employees, which, while no increase is ideal, I just feel I have to let you know that we never know what those future costs of our claims will be, and we have some obligations in regards to the amount that we have to have in that trust. What does this mean ultimately for our employees? And this was referenced earlier this week. The recommendations for the monthly premium, these are the monthly impacts, and depending on the plan. So first off, if it's an employee-only plan, it's a $2 a month increase. And for the employee plus spouse, it's $3 a month. Employee plus child or children, $8 a month. And for the family is the largest impact, and that's $28 a month. That brings in the total of $360,000 additional funds to go into the healthcare trust to cover claims and those increasing costs over the next year. Finally, I just do want to echo the comments already being made, and board, I appreciate you so much and the hard work that you've done over the last several years. You really have worked very hard on compensation here at Ada County. Our employees are feeling the impacts and appreciate any entertainment of any kind of across-the-board increase as well as merit increase that you may consider. And I echo that of my fellow directors and also the elected officials who've already spoken. Thank you so much, and I stand for questions.
Well, thank you, Bethany. Appreciate all your hard work and efforts, and thanks for your presentation. I'm particularly impressed with the way you've increased the collaboration and cooperation with all the other departments, one in particular. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. And any questions from the board? Go ahead.
Just my question that you partially answered in your presentation, and that's when we're looking at all these things, if we have to come back to you, if you'd help us analyze it in the context of some of the things you're asking for. Thanks.
Absolutely. Be ready for that. Thank you very much, Commissioners.
All right. Any other questions from the board? All right, no. Well, thank you. And given that, we're going to take a 7-minute break. 7-minute break. So we'll take right back up and Okay, we're on the record. We're on the record. We exceeded our 7 minutes by a little bit, but we were conducting business on the floor. Trying to, anyway. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Emergency Medical Services, EMS, is also known as the Ada County Paramedics, or ACP, is headed by Chief John Blake and is the sole provider of 911 emergency medical services for citizens of Boise, Garden City, Meridian, Eagle, Star, Cuna, and rural Ada County. Along with the Ada County City Emergency Services System Access Partners, Boise, Meridian, Eagle, Star, and Cuna Fire Departments, ACP provides 24/7 advanced life support through its operations of 15 paramedic stations strategically placed in Ada County. Emergency Medical Services has submitted their fiscal year 27 budget request that exceeds their base budget by $390,563. They're requesting one operating supplemental for $500,000. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce Chief John Blake, who will present the budget for EMS.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to the podium, John.
Good afternoon.
This is your first time up presenting your budget. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir, it is. I'm hoping to land it by the end of this very short 30 minutes. It is my pleasure to present the budget this year. It is my intent to do so in short format with the assistance of my command staff that I brought along with me, who I am hoping will help me answer questions that you might have that I might not be able to answer. Right off the bat, EMS cost and reimbursement trend lines to continue to head in the wrong directions, as has always been the case for EMS. Anybody that says that EMS is a winning proposition has not done it for any length of time. We have historically made up for those poor trend lines with call volume, so an increase in the requests for our service have been the thing that have overcome these difficult trend lines in cost versus reimbursement. Those trend lines, or those calls for service, have shown only modest increases in the past few years. And so we are continuing to find ways to make up for some of those shortfalls. The budget for this year is whole and complete, tidily done so, and so all of our needs, aside from the supplemental, have been well cared for inside the bounds of the monies available to us. Part of that, we're glad to see this year, was GMT. The first year for us is 9 months in 2023. We'd hoped to see that check earlier this year, but are reliably informed that we have now received it for 9 months of 2023. We'll also receive monies for 2024 and 2025 in this coming fiscal year. Some of that will be brought on as anticipated revenue. The first check will come on as unanticipated revenue in this year, and we'll use that for one-time expenses. We also are reliably informed that GMT money that former Chief Rain spent so much time constructing is now going to be drastically reduced beginning in 2029. So the monies that we may have been able to use to make up shortfalls are themselves going to be cut. And so we are going to look for those monies in the coming few years and use them as we can, certainly not for anything that looks like ongoing dollars, but just for one-time expenses. The total budget requests under operating expenses, in addition to everything else that we purchase this year, as in all years, one of our focuses is going to be on continuing education. With the clinical sophistication that Ada County paramedics brings and our excellent clinical results, one of the focuses must be on continuing training and education, and we're going to continue that this year. Under capital expense, we're going to continue to purchase ambulances, gurneys, Lucas devices, those are chest compression devices, and the possible purchase of Eagle Fire Station 2. I realize one of the questions right out of the bat would be, wait, didn't you just get 10 ambulances through our ARPA dollars? And the answer is yes, but we will continue every year to buy ambulances. There's just no way to put a pause on that, given that the wait times on those apparatus are 2 to 3 years. And under personnel, we are adding 3 new positions that I'll discuss on the next slide, and we do not have any long-term vacancies. As far as personnel goes, we are adding 3 new battalion chief positions. This is something that we've discussed for years, the idea of adding new command positions to the field. This is a decision that we've put off many, many years. You could argue past a point of being healthy. Given the growth in Ada County and the growing number of high acuity and resource-intensive incidents, having greater command presence in the field for a growing community is appropriate now. As you can see below, there is a bit of a discussion about the incident command system and span of control for units that would be in your direct charge. That is anywhere from 3 to 7 with an average of 5, and our span of control has been exceeded, mostly because each of those units, each of those ambulances are staffed by people that are self-motivated and self-directed in most cases. We are looking to increase the amount of time that command staff can spend per crew and be available for those increased number of higher acuity and resource-intensive incidents, multiple casualty incidents, active shooter incidents, and the like. Those positions are going to be funded inside the EMS budget. We don't have any special salary adjustments, market adjustments, or lump sum increases in fiscal 27 budget. We do, as was previously mentioned, 1 supplemental request, and that is for the possible purchase of Eagle Fire Station 2. That is something that we have discussed on several occasions. And I believe, barring any questions, that is all I have for you today.
You want to give us an update?
Oh, the one that I promised you today? Consider it having been provided.
Okay, thank you. Well, we appreciate your efforts, and we certainly appreciate the staff that you have. It might be noted that a couple of your staff members got a commendation today from a couple of organizations that they appreciated the efforts that you put in, and we were happy to recognize that. I do have one question for him. How many people are in the battalion?
It depends. Again, how many people you say are in a battalion?
Oh, yeah, you have battalion chiefs, and I just
So
wonder how many people?
that's span of control, 3 to 7 with an average of 5. And so if we're going to stay inside what is a recommended number, according to the incident command system that's widely used across the country by multiple response agents, then the idea that we would add the 3rd would put us well inside those numbers.
So how many battalions do we have?
Right now, we have two
Two
per
battalions.
shift, right?
Two
And
per
adding-
shift.
And adding a third would mean 3 battalions across 3 shifts.
Okay, so it's 9.
Correct.
All right. Well, I'm just curious, you're one of your new battalion chief, and how many battalion chiefs do we have?
Right.
We have 8, and you want 9.
We have 6, and I would like 9, yes.
Oh, okay, all right.
Right.
All right, good enough. Any other questions? Any other questions? Go ahead.
So what's our current need for ambulances over the next year? How are we doing on that? And
If you look at a fleet based on the number of ambulances that you have in service, something that approaches 2 ambulances to 1 is appropriate, only because these things, after all, are not yellow superhero mobiles. They are just trucks, and so they break down and are needed for other things besides 911 service, like standbys and special events. It's hard for me to say what that increase will be. We do know that the increase in growth and just geographic area that we're expected to cover right now, the population centers that we're going to be covering, will require an increased number of ambulances in service. The actual ambulances that we will need will be something close to 2 to 1. From a standpoint of response districts, some of the numbers that we received from one of our former deputy chiefs was that we are down in the neighborhood of 5 ambulances right now. So going forward, that's something that we would look to remedy.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
yeah, go ahead.
Just a thank you for, because, or maybe a question as well. The federal, state, and grant dollars, you've maneuvered those, your crystal ball has been consulted, and so you've maneuvered those sufficiently?
I wouldn't, those dollars, in my experience, and maybe my staff could answer better, those dollars have been useful, especially for things like training and education, but they are rarely sufficient to cover some of the big dollar items, especially in capital purchase or especially ongoing cost, which is the most critical. Grants are often associated with one-time purchases as opposed to the ongoing costs that are going to be more appropriate for our department.
Just as for example, like with the ambulances that we got with
Oh.
our ARPA dollars,
Yeah, that's, yes, sir.
that's going to come due at some point in time, new ambulances.
Oh, right. Well, we're going to continue to order them, right? So all the ARPA ambulances that we've ordered have been delivered. And even that, with that influx of ambulances, we're going to continue to order new.
Got one more question. Are the blue and yellow ambulances safer than the white ones?
Indeed, we are reliably informed that they are. I believe it was what was the specialist? Who was that person? What's his profession? Right, did you hear that? An optometrist, somebody that understands what the eye sees, what's the most eye-catching. We work with this person to identify apparently what everybody else in the world knew about this color, in that it is eye-catching, and so that's the reason that we moved to it.
Well, I get that, but and that's why I asked the question. Have we had as many? Have we cut down fewer accidents? There's fewer accidents in the blue and yellows. as there are
I
the
don't
whites?
know that. I don't know that we have that number yet.
Okay.
That certainly is what we're hoping for.
Okay, well, good. Well, keep track of that, and then let us know. Okay. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Tell your staff thank you, and we certainly appreciate your efforts for the community, and we're proud that we got a commendation today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I figured you guys would want to know that.
All right, thank you, Chief Blake. Helen Baker is the director of Expo Idaho. Expo Idaho is an enterprise fund, meaning they do not receive financial support from taxpayers, but rather are self-funded. Expo Idaho hosts year-round interim events while also putting on the annual Western Idaho Fair. Expo Idaho is located on the northwest corner of Shinden Boulevard and Glenwood. The campus footprint consists of 240 acres that encompasses the 80,000 square foot Expo building and several other smaller buildings and barns. Also including outdoor grandstand seating for 4,000 people, 4,500 parking spaces, and 225 slip RV park next to the Boise River. Interim events consist of activities, shows, and gatherings that occur on the Expo Idaho property. There are approximately 175 interim events each year, including the Sportsman Show, Roadster Show, Flea Market, Ski Swap, Home and Garden Show, Health Fair, Dog Show, Weddings, Quinceañeras, the Boise Music Festival, and every 5 years, Hialdi. This year, Expo Idaho will put on their 130th Western Idaho Fair. This event promotes the Treasure Valley's heritage to culture, community education, and celebrates all that the Treasure Valley has to offer. The 10-day fair takes place each year on the third Friday of August. The attendance of approximately 275,000 people, making it Idaho's largest event. New this year, Ada County's Park at Expo Idaho. This amazing futuristic park is currently under construction and will be completed in 2026. Additionally, the process of renovating the grandstands, the turf club, and the pitch for the Boise Pro Soccer USL men and women's teams, which started in April of 2026. Expo Idaho has submitted their fiscal year 27 budget request, which is $26,335 under their base budget. No operating or personnel supplementals are being requested. It's my pleasure to introduce Director Baker.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to our meeting today, Director Baker, and we're looking forward to your very first budget presentation.
The very first. I know.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Chairman
Yes.
Beck and Commissioners. It is the first time you've had a new face up here in quite a few years. And I hope that at the end of this, we can say that I did Bob Batista very well in his legacy. He was a wonderful director, and I am very honored to be able to be in this place today. As you know, we might actually have some fun things going on at the Expo. You wouldn't ever dream of the things that I get to do on a daily basis, on an annual basis, right here in the valley, in the heart of the Treasure Valley. Everything from the new park to an amazing fair that covers over 275,000 people that visit each year. And we have soccer now, all new. But it doesn't come without us being reminded of our daily mission. To operate as a self-sustaining, very important to you, all of us, multi-purpose venue that hosts a diverse year-round events, bringing people together to celebrate business, community, agriculture, and entertainment, right here in the heart of the Treasure Valley. How do we do that? Our staff shares these values. Not only are we community-oriented, fiscally responsible, we operate with the highest of integrity and the accountability to all those that we get to serve. Most of these accomplishments, of course, came long before I ever was even a glimmer in your eye. But I get to talk about them today. In 2025, there was a major parking lot repavement, as well as all the rewiring that had to go along with it. Fortunately, there was a lot of forethought as to what would be coming up in the years ahead. Maybe we didn't see the park, maybe we didn't see soccer quite yet, but we knew that we needed to be ready for all of the people that were coming. And truly, capacity in parking is one of our biggest issues some of these weekends now. We have a very profitable Western Idaho Fair, so much so that Bob's forethought and looking ahead, along with your permission and support, has offered us up to the opportunity to go now to 10 days and next year up to 13 days, spanning across 17. We host over 175 events annually at the Expo, which is over 700 days of actual event days when you look at it. Because those events aren't one day. It might take 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, plus their setup and their tear down. AC Boise not only has launched their soccer, and thank you very much for coming to the very first game in April, they are now in their 7th game, I believe, of a 21-day game series that will occur this year. And then, of course, I know that I'll be looking forward to seeing you, as well as just about everyone in Ada County, on October 23rd, when we get to finally open Ada County's park at Expo, Idaho. Some of the key considerations for budgeting this year, as I said once before, we are an enterprise fund. That means that we have not only the ability to spend money, but we also have the time to make it, and we have the challenge too, right? That comes with pros and cons. The revenue and profit, we're projecting approximately half of the cost to maintain the park is going to be covered by the proceeds of soccer. That means we have the opportunity to make that up with our interim events and our fair profit. The Western Idaho Fair, as I said, is growing to 13 days next year. Some of the differences in doing that, Mondays and Tuesdays during the fair tend to not be highly trafficked days. So by expanding to the 3 weekends, we actually believe we will see an increase in the number of attendees as well as an increase in the amount of revenue. The budget that we're presenting today, though, actually happens before our biggest event of the year. That's not new to you. It's a little new to me, not new to you. But we also have Mother Nature. Mother Nature can also throw us curveballs, as we have seen in years past. As for capital, we always plan our projects. We have them slated. We know we believe we have all the costs for those. We also know that if we, by chance, aren't making the same amount of money, we might have to put some of those on the sidelines. But thanks to our wonderful operations department, thank you, Mr. Kearney, for all of his assistance so far this year, we've been able to slate many things to come for the next year. We'll be paying for those needed improvements by the fair and the interim event revenue. Staffing, we're not seeing a huge staffing increase this year, but primarily, you got me. I get to be new, the first new person in the director's role for 25 years, but we will see an increase due to the park. Okay. I saw that we were supposed to put in budget hurdles and something about pitfalls. I don't like painful pitfalls. That didn't sound like fun to me. So I asked them to take it out. Hope you don't mind. But some of the hurdles that we actually do annually see is the fact that we are adding days to the fair, but we're also adding the days that could actually take some weather events. That's something that we'll see every single year. Can't necessarily plan for it. We will pivot and turn when it happens, and we will do the best we can. But that's one of the things that we actually have to look at every year. One of the new things is the park. We don't know what we don't know about all the costs and the maintenance that will come from the park. We have been able to mitigate certain things by being able to use some of the irrigation water by that whole project. We're actually seeing anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 in savings a month in water usage because of that project. AC Boise, again, fabulous. So glad that it's here, so glad that it's happening. We're working not only as their food and beverage, as their beverage hosts, we also have the licensing that's involved in that. And so we are very much involved in all of their events that they have at the soccer field. And then obviously we have some schedule conflicts. We had a wonderful event on May 16th, or a wonderful day where we had 5 events happening simultaneously at the expo. It meant parking was absolutely hard to come by. And as much as we tried to let everyone know that that was happening, we got a few calls, not many, But we'll see that as the days go, as we go further and further in the schedule. Not only are we going to have soccer games and Hawks games and Expo events happening all at the same time, people are used to being able to drive directly into Expo, Idaho, and park right there and get right in. And so as we start to evolve further and further, we'll be looking for other opportunities for ways to be able to get folks in. Ride shares, busing, all the things that we'll need to be doing in our future so that we can continue to evolve and grow. Expo Idaho's main budget, we see a revenue increase of about $577,000, primarily because of interim events and incidentals. We will see a slight increase in RV park rates, as we've understood, as well as we have the lease and the parking for AC Boise, as well as our food and beverage income. The expense side is a little bit higher, $900,000 plus. That all has to do with special events, labor, product supplies, and obviously the food and beverages. Maintenance, utilities, laborers, along with AC Boise, besides we have the payout, we have an agreement with them, as well as the labor behind operating all of those bars and the products and supplies. And of course, Ada County's Park at the Expo, we don't know exactly what our maintenance expenses might look like, and that's our biggest reason for the increase. We want to make sure that we're trying to think about all the things that might be ahead for us. As for the Western Idaho Fair, a whole lot better. A revenue increase of $1.9 million. That extra 3 days of the fair are on weekend days. We believe that that will help to drive much bigger traffic. We will have a slight admission increase next year. That'll be the first time in over 5 years. Butler Carnival tends to also have a small increase, as well as because we have more days, there will be the commercial vendor booths will increase. With the new grandstand at AC Boise, we actually have more reserved seating for those concerts, and they're comfortable. So we're excited to offer that for all of our concerts. And then as well, we will see an increase in all of our food booth percentages, obviously, extra days. As for the expenses, things to be expected, entertainment costs, well, they're not going down. Not only are the artists not decreasing their costs, the production for them and the labor that's involved in putting up their stages, their lights, all the things that make them ritzy and glitzy, those things cost money, and they tend to go up every year. Additional days create additional expenses. One of the ones that we are working on very closely right now with Sheriff Clifford is the increase, probably around $100,000, but we're working to mitigate that now. He and I have met a couple of times to talk about ways that we can look at the trends in the data that was collected in 2025 in terms of when exactly do we need to have deputies on ground and when can we use our private security firm instead. So those are great things ahead. Maintenance, utilities, supplies, labor. The fair brings the superintendents, the premium department, all the great things that we celebrate all have expenses to them. We need people to be able to judge them. We need people to organize them. We need to make sure that everything goes well for those kids who have worked all year long on those projects. And then, of course, the food and beverage increase, that goes with the territory. I believe that we heard in the OBM this morning that we're looking at a CPI that could be around 4.2. Things go up every year. As I mentioned, not many personnel differences this next year. We're looking at 2 park maintenance positions, mainly to maintain this park and the green space, everything around Expo Idaho, to be able to figure out all the things that we know and we don't know. The revenue from AC Boise's soccer, food and beverage, and the fair will also fund these positions. We anticipate we'll wind up with 4 total employees to be able to adequately maintain the 50-acre park, as well as all the green space around Expo Idaho grounds. All of these, both of these, are within budget. We do have some special salary adjustments due to the increased workloads, not only with the new business, as well as more days during the Western Idaho Fair. All of these also within budget. Market adjustments. As we are bringing existing employees up to the current starting wage of all of the new maintenance staff, again, all of these within budget. As I expressed before, we do see that we will be increasing what we are paying to the Sheriff's Department. It's my understanding that historically we have not necessarily covered all of our expense to the Sheriff's Department, and we are aiming to get closer and closer in that as well as also mitigate those times that we may or may not actually need deputies in order to still keep safety and security around our grounds. Operating expenses, like I said, fair dates are extended. Those additional days create some additional expenses. With AC Boise, we had an increase in our labor costs. We need people to run those bars, to keep people happy during those soccer games. As well as there's an increased product cost because we didn't have all those before. And then finally, Expo, Ada County's Park at the Expo, the maintenance, all of those are additional costs that will need to go into interim events. Like I said, we love to plan for our capital expenses and really do hope that we'll be able to cover all of them. We want to paint the inside and outside of our main expo building. We would also like to see the south kitchen get upgraded. The bathrooms inside that building to be remodeled. And we would like to go ahead and purchase the modular building that we're using currently, we're renting, for our park staff. We're planning to install cameras in our parking lot, renovate our carnival bathroom, as well as those needed asphalt repairs because we're using our parking lots a lot. So as an overview, personnel, we're seeing a total of about $2.5 million. Our operating expenses are around 9.6, and capital and equipment sitting around 1.6. That's how we tend to be using our money, resources, and property wisely. I stand for any questions.
Well, thank you, Ellen. You indicated that, you talked about the May 16th. I can attest to that because I drove by that day and it was, I couldn't believe it. And there were 4 events going on during the
5.
whole, 5 events going, oh,
Yes, sir.
It was something else. I know Commissioner Davidson enjoyed the Comic Con that day as well.
You were a part of it. How was it?
Yeah, you're
Good
part of
and
it.
crazy, right? Everything that the expo likes to be.
Oh, yes. Well, and we appreciate that. That's one of our objectives actually is to increase the number of events
Yes, sir.
at Expo because I think sometimes we have, it's not utilized fully, but I think we'll get there. to
You
where
know,
it'd be
it's
more-
just about every weekend, there are 3 or 4 events. There's a couple of buildings and looking at usage where we have some capability. But other than that, we really are, we're gearing down hard and heavy every single weekend. It's our midweek that we tend to be in tear down or set up, and we might have some ability to do some business meetings and things like that.
Well, it would seem that with the increased space that is going to be available for our grandstand events, and a lot more of them available for charging for them, I think that should increase our revenue somewhat.
I do believe so. I do believe that. I'm also very excited to see what AC Boise brings forward. They have a lot of other private events besides their soccer with the men and women. They have some other private events and concerts planned. So I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, great. Now, you indicated in your presentation Butler was going to cost a little bit more. Now, our contract with Butler is on a percentage kind of a basis, so.
It is. It's just their wristbands.
Oh,
So
gonna
when
charge
we
more
talk
for the
about
wrist- oh,
our
okay.
admission going up, their wristbands typically do go up.
Okay, charge-
If not
charge
every
more
year,
for the-
every couple of years, the
I
carnivals
see,
do that.
I see. Well, and that works pretty good, I think, those wristband things.
They do, especially if you buy them in advance. So if anybody is
Yeah.
watching this right now and you haven't bought your carnival wristband, they are available and on sale.
Yeah, all right. Well, I don't have, just thank you for your presentation. Any other questions? Go ahead.
So I guess we sort of have a rough idea about what the ongoing maintenance costs of the park is going to be once it opens?
We've got some ideas, but we also have a lot of unknowns that we don't know. Weather will be a big kicker. We were granted a great winter this year, very mild. We believe that we understand what it's going to cost, but I think there's some things that we'll need to just figure out as we go along.
And you're estimating that we can probably cover about 50% of the ongoing maintenance through the revenue we're generating from the soccer team.
Yes. Yes, I'd love to say it will be more. We don't know what we don't know with the private events that will also come, that will supplement what they're already making, what we're bringing in from the games. So we don't know what we don't know about that ahead, but I would say around that 50% is probably a good place to sit right now.
And then do you feel covering the other 50% out of revenue from other expo events, that, that'll be sufficient?
It's where it's going to need to come from.
I would say probably one of your jobs is brainstorming ways that the park itself can generate revenue, so that, if we could actually get to a place where the Park at Expo is paying for itself. I don't know if we'll ever get there, but obviously there's going to be revenue opportunities with the park if we're leasing space to food trucks or having X Games tournaments or things like that. Do you kind of see a future where the park is going to be generating some significant revenue?
That would take a lot of creativity, sir. My understanding, and I'm working with our attorney's office right now to figure out exactly what we can charge for there, but we're not allowed to actually rent the space. So the only revenue that we would potentially be able to gain would be from that food truck revenue, which is just a percentage. Ancillary services that we would provide, tables, chairs, the rental of those types of things. But other than that, I am not aware of any other way besides sponsorships that we would be able to gain revenue off that park. I'm looking for anything more that the attorney's office can give me, but from what I understand, our hands are pretty closely tied on that. We will look to have as much program around that food truck area and the skate park and the kids park available every opportunity that we get, but I don't think that that's going to quite come close to what we're going to have in cost for the park.
All right, thank you.
Well, we've been led to believe that because of the nature of the planning and the design of the skate park, that there could be some events there. And the ladies that wanted that rollerblading thing suggest that there could be some events there as well.
Fantastic. Well, I will look
So there
forward
may
to
be.
having food and beverages available for all of them.
So there may
Tables,
be.
chairs, anything that I can possibly help them with.
There may be some other opportunities there.
I hope so.
Any questions? Go ahead.
No, just thank you for your creativity in terms of exploring opportunities for the success of both the fair as well as the expo, as soccer, all the new things that are coming, and then planning for the future for the rest of Expo Idaho.
The
as well.
rest of Expo Idaho.
there's
You guys
the-
have given me a beautiful campus to work with, a phenomenal staff, and teams here, the other directors within Ada County have just been more than welcoming and hospitable. I can't tell you thank you enough for all the support. I will say that on behalf of myself and the other directors that I've heard today, I realize your hands are tied and you're doing the absolute best you can, and thank you so much. If there is any way for an increase for our staff as we're facing these economic times, everyone would be most grateful. Thank
Mr. Chairman, because the park at Expo Idaho and soccer are phase 1 and phase 2, but that's only about half of the.
There's
the-
more
the-
soccer
the
fields
acres
coming.
that are there.
Yes, there are many more fields coming. I understand as early as maybe even this fall.
That's right. Okay, I don't have any more questions, but thank you. We appreciate your fast start that you've got when you coming.
Just under 100 days.
Coming to work, and thank you. Appreciate all your efforts and your staff. All right. I guess that's about it, isn't it, Mr. Clerk?
That's it, Mr. Chair. We can shut it down tonight if you want and get back here at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I propose we do that because it's been a long day, and tomorrow's even going to be a longer day. Because we're going to have a public hearing that starts at 5, and if this room is filled full of the public wanting to talk about our budget, we can do that. But then we have a public hearing for land use that starts at 6. So we'll be here a while. But if you don't have anything else, then we will be adjourned. Thank you. We're adjourned. Thank you. Okay.